There's a growing disconnect in modern life between how things look and how they actually are. On the surface, many people appear to be doing well. They are healthy, well-groomed, connected online, and surrounded by convenience. Their environments are comfortable, their needs are met, and their lives are curated to reflect stability. And yet beneath that surface, there is often a different story. Beneath the surface, there is disconnection from meaningful relationships, lack of motivation or direction, avoidance of responsibility, and a quiet sense of emptiness. This contrast between outward appearance and inward disengagement, it's not new. It was observed in a striking way during the Universe 25 experiment, where a group of mice emerged that the researcher called the beautiful ones. Understanding the beautiful ones phenomena offers a lens into a deeper pattern that is increasingly visible in modern society. The Universe 25 experiment, conducted by John B. Calhoun in 1968, created a controlled environment where mice had unlimited access to food, water, and shelter with no predators or disease. Initially, the population grew and functioned normally. Social roles were established, and the colony behaved as expected. However, as the population expanded and social roles became saturated, the system began to break down. Mice could no longer integrate into meaningful positions within the colony. In the later stages of the experiment, a distinct group emerged. Calhoun referred to them as the beautiful ones. The beautiful ones were physically intact and even pristine. Unlike other mice in the colony, they did not engage in fighting. They had no scars or signs of conflict, spent most of their time grooming, maintained clean, well-kept appearances. At first glance, they appeared to be thriving, but their behavior told a different story. They did not pursue mates. They did not reproduce. They did not establish territory. They did not participate in social life. Their existence was reduced to a narrow set of behaviors: eating, sleeping, and self-maintenance. They were not struggling for survival, but they were no longer participating in life either. One of the most important aspects of the beautiful ones phenomena is the idea of a collapsed behavioral range. Many organisms engage in a wide spectrum of behaviors: exploration, competition, cooperation, reproduction, nurturing, and adaptation. These behaviors are not random. They're part of what sustains both the individual and the community. In the case of the beautiful ones, that range narrowed significantly. They retained only the most basic self-focused behaviors. Everything that required interaction, risk, or responsibility disappeared. This narrowing is what made the phenomenon so significant. While humans are far more complex than mice, the beautiful ones phenomenon offers a compelling parallel. In modern society, it's increasingly possible to live a life centered around personal comfort, digital interaction, self-presentation, consumption of content and resources, without ever engaging deeply in responsibility, long-term commitment, community participation, or generational contribution. This does not describe everyone, but it is a pattern that is becoming more visible. People can appear well-adjusted while quietly disengaging from behaviors that sustain a thriving life. Comfort itself is not harmful. It becomes a problem, though, when it replaces engagement. In environments where risk is minimalized, discomfort is quickly avoided. Effort is optional, and stimulation is constant. It becomes easier to withdraw from more demanding aspects of life. Over time, this can lead to reduced resilience, avoidance of challenge, preference for low-effort activities, decreased motivation for long-term goals. The beautiful ones phenomenon illustrates what happens when comfort is not balanced with purpose. One of the defining characteristics of the beautiful ones was their focus on self-maintenance. They groomed themselves extensively. They remained physically clean and intact, but this focus came at the expense of everything else. In modern life, self-maintenance can take many forms: curating an online identity, prioritizing appearance over substance, focusing on personal comfort over contribution, engaging in activities that require little relational investment. Again, these behaviors are not inherently negative. The issue arises when they become the primary focus of life. When self-maintenance replaces participation, disconnection follows. Engaging in meaningful roles requires vulnerability. It involves risk of failure, potential for conflict, responsibility for others, and long-term commitment. In contrast, a life that is centered on comfort and self-maintenance feels safer because it offers control, predictability, immediate gratification, and limited emotional risk. The beautiful ones did not withdraw because they were incapable of functioning. They withdrew because the environment no longer supported meaningful engagement. In a similar way, modern environments can unintentionally encourage disengagement by making passive living easier than active participation. One of the most significant outcomes of the beautiful ones phenomenon was the loss of reproduction. The mice did not simply stop engaging socially, they stopped contributing to the continuation of the colony. In human terms, this can be reflected in declining birth rates, delayed family formation, reduced emphasis on generational legacy, and a shift toward individual fulfillment over collective continuity. These trends are influenced by many factors, but they share a connection to the broader theme of disengagement from long-term responsibility. The beautiful ones phenomenon is not just about individual behavior, it has implications for society as a whole. When large numbers of individuals withdraw from building families, participating in communities, and taking on responsibility, the structures that support society begin to weaken. This does not happen suddenly, it is a gradual shift. At first, everything appears stable, but over time, the absence of engagement becomes more visible. The patterns observed in the beautiful ones phenomenon are not irreversible for humans. Unlike the mice in the Universe 25 experiment, humans have the ability to recognize patterns and respond intentionally. Recognition begins with re-engagement. This can include choosing responsibility over convenience, investing in relationships that require presence, pursuing goals that extend beyond immediate comfort, reintroducing challenge in a balanced way. These steps are not about rejecting comfort entirely. They are about restoring balance between comfort and contribution. To move beyond disconnection, it is necessary to expand behavioral range. This means reintroducing exploration, trying new things, stepping outside of routine, responsibility, taking ownership of roles and commitments, contribution, serving others in meaningful ways, and connection, building relationships that go beyond surface interaction. These behaviors create depth. They restore movement where there has been stagnation. The lesson of the beautiful ones phenomenon is not that comfort should be avoided. It is that comfort alone is not enough. A fully lived life includes rest and effort, safety and challenge, self-care and contribution, independence and interdependence. When these elements are balanced, individuals are more likely to remain engaged in the behaviors that sustain both personal and collective well-being. The beautiful ones phenomenon highlights a form of disconnection that can develop quietly in environments of abundance. In the next podcast, we will explore how these patterns begin earlier in life, particularly in the formation of emotional regulation and relational stability. If this has resonated with you, there's a path toward deeper connection and restored purpose in The Creation Needs the Sabbath and The Eden Way. Both are books that I've written. They are both available on healthyandheart.com and on amazon.com and also in your local bookstore. Until next time, remember to stay healthy in heart.